welcome to Tech Ascent, the podcast where we dive into the trends, strategies, and success stories that are reshaping the tech landscape as we know it today. I'm your host, Oliver Klingane. I'm also the founder of Ascension, the premier business development partner within tech. And on today's episode, we've got a great guest joining us, joined by Abdul Khan, one of the co-founders and CEO of AutoMato. Abdul, welcome to the show.
Hey, Oliver. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you coming on. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do with AutoMato?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Abdul Khan, as Oliver mentioned, and founder and co-CEO, co-founder and CEO of AutoMato AI. We are at the convergence of AI and e-commerce, and what AutoMato AI is looking to do is really help enterprises and large brands accelerate their SEO strategy. And we do this through a robust set of AI agents. They are that are working continuously, looking at competitive research, looking at content, looking at products. And we'll jump into more of this. But really, we're excited to be here, and Automato is really helping accelerate the game for a lot of
Hmm.
big
It's a
brands.
it's it's a great mission you guys are on. And with that, obviously being a co-founder, being the CEO, what gap in the market did you see that made you want to start this business?
Oh, that's a great question, Oliver. I think my background in history has just been e-commerce over the last 2 decades, working with large retailers, larger brands, working with M&A, and I did a small stint within automotive as well. And what you see is transformational technologies come, and they kind of change the way the work was done before to the after, right? And I've seen this happen again and again and again, and especially all aspects of digital have kind of accelerated that. For we've seen that transformation happen. And as AI, right, was coming to fruition here over the last few years, sticking to our core, myself and some of our co-founders sticking to our e-commerce core, tried to really go and figure out where the largest opportunity is, what is the lowest hanging fruit, and where we can actually drive the highest levels of efficiency. And this is where we came up with this entire merchandising operating system, right? For us, the merchandising operating system has been riddled with Excel, different reports, different analytic systems, doing a lot of research off-site everywhere. And really, there's no cohesive way to bring all of that understanding and information together, and then really take it to market, right? And like just step function it up, right? How do you take it from, okay, now you've done all this work, and then how do you bring it forward? So that's where we came up with the idea of Automato, is to kind of stick to our core, like stay like really close to what we know when it comes to e-commerce, and then find where the opportunity is for enterprises, and that's how we came up, and we've seen some success.
Hmm. No, it sounds like it, and I think that's a great answer because I hear a lot of co-founders or founders in general say they don't have that asset that you have of you come from a background in e-commerce, you stuck to what you know, and you saw an opportunity and combine the two. Sometimes a lot of founders, a lot of young entrepreneurs, they see an opportunity and they chase that. They get something known as shiny object syndrome, so to call.
Right.
And what kind of advantages in the market, being in the e-commerce space for over 2 decades now? What sort of advantages do you have in the market with so much experience?
I've been fortunate to be the little startup within these large organizations, right? So when I was at Office Max or Office Depot, I was in Europe for about 5 years doing this for Office Depot in Europe, and then came back and did it for Ford Motor Company. I was always the startup within this large organization, starting to change things and do things differently, right?
Hmm.
And the ideas would start to catch like wildfire. And then that was one. And then I think the second thing here is I've always worked with startups, right? Because I rather help a startup and then actually take their tech and implement it in a bigger ecosystem that would help us accelerate our end goals as well. And to really, it's all about value generation, right? For us, working through this, ecosystem over the last few years, last 2 decades, it's been about how do you bring, how do you do the work in order to realize the value, reduce the complexity that accelerates the value generation, whether it's a cost optimization or a revenue gain for the organization. So this really came together and it was like a no-brainer for us. It's like, hey, listen, it's just no one is generating content at the speed that they need to, right? Especially when it comes to product content, because it requires so much research, it requires so much data gathering from the industry, and then really understanding the trends of how the customer behavior is just so fragmented. But if we were able to bring that together and then really leverage LLMs to do the work, right? Doing the work is now easy, which is writing the content, but all the research that goes into it at a product level, and now doing that at scale, yeah, it like quickly like went from, back of the napkin to a prototype to the first customer, and then we saw the data and the results, and we're like, okay, we got something here. So it's not perfect, but it is a heck of a lot better than the alternative today.
No, it sounds like you guys have found your stride pretty quickly. And obviously AI plays a large component of what you guys do. When showcasing kind of the value of, say, Automato or any company that leverages AI pretty heavily, there's always kind of that gap in consumer education because there's just so much noise around AI. How do you go about kind of showcasing the value of what Automato provides to new customers, new prospects?
I think we're fortunate that we're working in a space with e-commerce that is just, they just love change,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's like the early adopters within the e-commerce space that are like, they'll try something, they'll try everything, right, in the marketplace to see what fits for them. And these early adopters, right, like they're coming in and really harnessing us and like actually like it's becoming a pull where they're like, no, 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 we need this and this and this and this and this, and we're hearing it from so many different channels that they just want to solve their problem within the organization. It's not a problem, it's an opportunity, right? So they want to go and realize this opportunity as quickly as possible, and those these I would call them trailblazers, right? They're like trying to bring in tech and capability in order to accelerate. They've done a bunch of stuff. They're all of their teams use ChatGPT or religiously, but they're like, okay, now what's next? What's next? What's next? They come to us and they're like, all right, Abdul, like, can you guys do build this out as quickly as possible, right? So those customers are not only taking advantage of the platform, but we're learning with them, right? And we've been doing this, and I mean, there's one of our early customers, Fun.com. Mark is he's been a fantastic case study for us, in the case study, but then also a partner, like deep, deep partnership where their teams and our teams are working very closely together to really truly optimize, right? They've got a catalog size of over 40,000 products, right? And as you can imagine, Automato can really help. And we've been going back and forth and working with them for over 2 years now. So it's been quite exciting. And so now I think the other thing is like, you know, other organizations, and we're seeing this now, right? And it's going to continue to happen. Like, boards are going to start asking their leaderships across all of these companies, all right, what is the most biggest value add that we've been able to generate through AI, right? And they're going to go and start researching, and hopefully, they'll stumble upon us and see, some of the very difficult complexity we're solving, right? Writing, I mean, unfortunately, like LLMs are like now already delivering capability, so that's the easy part, right? But how do you mechanize that at an enterprise level and bring all this information together to help accelerate your organization is, Oliver, that's like the trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we're starting to solve it, right? And like really embedding the capability within an organization, within the native ecosystem that they have with their systems and their rest of their ecosystem, but really bringing these AI agents within the organization through our platform. So that's I think we're headed, and I think that's where we're coming from.
No, and it sounds like a great system you guys have built out. And something I want to pick apart there is you mentioned you've worked with one of your early clients for over 2 years now, and you've built a true partnership. Obviously, relationships are the key to almost everything in business. Being a co-founder, getting a company off the ground, how important have relationships been to you?
Oh my goodness, it is everything. It is everything, right? From the co-founders with myself in the business, these are like dear friends that we've actually solved a lot of big problems in a lot of big companies over the last, over the last so many years. Our advisors that are on the organization, they are, true experts, domain experts that are in this space that have seen these problems and have guided us. Um, our team, right? Our people around us, our organization, that the AutoMato employees and members, and they're like everyone's like a part. Everyone has ownership, and these guys are like burning the midnight oil, right?
Hmm.
So it's all about relationships and having that trust, right? I can pick up the phone, call Peyton or call Bilal or Rami, and like any time of day or night, and they won't, I mean, I won't have to finish my sentence. And that culture is there, and I think that's kind of relationship. Internally we need to have that, and then we just extend that to our customers, right?
Hmm.
Like, like if you talk to Mark and his team, like they're an extension, like we're an extension of their team because the culture fit is so strong, right?
Hmm.
The culture fit is, with bigger brands that we're working with, the culture fit is so strong, right? They're like, we love, you guys because you're just like part of our organization, right? And that's what we want to be. We don't want to be, a check that you're writing. We want to be true partners that are helping you, drive, significant value for your organization.
Mm, awesome. And as Automato expands, being the CEO, how do you go about maintaining that culture, making sure the company doesn't get too big too quickly? How do you
Yeah.
maintain that strong culture, that strong team morale?
AutoMato, we started from scratch, right? Back of the napkin, employee 0, 1, right? Like,
Mhm.
and but having worked with large organizations and building culture within organizations, I think it is, it really comes with, I've learned some stuff from like some great mentors of mine, right? And to name of, I mean, I'm not gonna name names, but people know who they are. Like they've like really taught me to like really hire very smart folks and empower them, right? And really like get out of their way, right? And allow that autonomy to kind of come in and set in and really accelerate. And that's what we're looking to do, right? We're looking to bring the brightest folks together that have a joint, purpose and a mission that want to truly transform this space, and and are like going to bed thinking about this and like out of excitement, not out of like anything else. And waking up and having aha moments and like, just getting ready to go. And that's what we're about, right? I have to tell some of our co-founders to shut down, like, and some of our employees to turn off their computer, and I don't want to hear. I will need them to take a break because they're just so eager to get going in the morning. So
Mm,
it's, we're blessed for sure.
mm, awesome. And that's definitely a gem for any entrepreneurs out there building new companies, expanding your team. And that's a great lesson in hiring. Abdul, being a co-founder, CEO, you mentioned some of your mentors. We don't have to name names, of course. What other kind of lessons do you credit some of your success to? Can be anything
Wow.
from mindset to standard
You
scaling
know,
strategies.
I think it's all about like I think my mindset is go after the difficult problems to solve, right? Everything else will work out itself,
Hmm.
right? If we can find, opportunities that are like truly value, like we talked about, like how to achieve, find value, and it's a difficult problem, right? Simplify it, remove all the waste out of it,
Hmm.
and, turn this into an accelerator for the organization, right? We have this running joke that, copywriting has not been a very, very, sexy job in the past, right? we're gonna make copywriters like the heroes of their companies, right?
Hmm.
Through this platform, right? Because not only will they have all the data at their fingertips, but with a push of a button, they can start like changing the outcome of the company, right? So I think for us, it's like, like for me, I think the lesson's just been, I don't chase titles or yada, yada, yada. All of that just catches up, right? It's like find a problem that you're passionate about and make sure it's a big enough problem and it's a hard enough problem and then solve it, right? If you can solve it in one night, it's probably not difficult enough, right?
Hmm.
It requires you, to really, burn the midnight oil, and learn along the way, and keep the feedback cycles really active,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah, focus on things that truly move the needle, and then adapt from there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And a big question we've talked about kind of your background a lot with AutoMato being in such a competitive space, even two spaces. You're in the e-commerce space and the AI space combined. Being in such a competitive space, how do you go about kind of breaking through the noise?
Yeah. I think it's staying focused on the mission, right? And we know what we're solving is, frankly, like not a lot of people have even figured out the problem space or quantified the problem space, right? Uh, and I think you just stay core to the mission. You find, the right customer set that you're solving that problem for, and continuously demonstrate the value to them, right? You're not going to get everything perfect on day one, but if you build it on relationship and build it on partnership, you will kind of get you'll break through that. So I think that's kind of where you kind of break through some of the noise, is to just stay focused and stay moving forward, right? Listen to your customers, absolutely, right? Because that's not noise. That's actually the only thing that matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And getting that feedback and hearing them, and working through the opportunities as your customers present them.
Mm. And trust the process is what it boils down
Absolutely,
to. Trust the process.
absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. And Abdul, you've shared some fantastic insights so far. We can look a little forward now, looking at the horizon for maybe the next 12, 24, 36 months, however far you want to extend. What's the vision for Automato? Where do you guys want to get to?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Automato, I kind of touched this point, but we truly want to be the merchandising operating system, right? When it comes to any type of an organization or a brand that's selling digital or not digital or anywhere in their ecosystem, they want to manage their product assortment. They want to grow their product assortment. They want to go through like refining and figuring out the value within their product assortment. We want to be that organization, that platform that is helping you, look for opportunities, figure out where you need to churn your catalog, find adjacent like categories, subcategories, keep an eye on what competitors are doing, but most importantly, understand the customer trends, right? And that's the ecosystem that we're bringing together, that allows you to not only understand that ecosystem, but that continuously update your content that allows you to go after where the market is, right? And launching new products, it hasn't been easier, right? And getting those things to market, and really, what we're finding right now is just so much low hanging fruit, right? So, like the next year to 2 years, it's like customers coming on the platform will like have a massive burst in productivity and massive burst in growth. Candidly speaking, on sales, they will see this, and then as they ingrain this into their new product introduction and their product lifecycle management process, it'll start to accelerate significantly as well. So I think that's where we're headed across all of the channels, and I haven't been more excited about the future.
No, the compounding effects are going to be crazy for you guys, and I'm excited for you guys' future as well. You've come on the show, Abdul. We've dropped some gems about entrepreneurship, being a founder, being a CEO, and how to scale. And I think Automato's You guys got a great system, and I look forward to seeing where it goes.
Awesome. Thank you, Oliver. All the best, man. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Abdul. And for anybody listening, I'll make sure all of Abdul's links are in the description if you guys want to go check him out.